I recently finished Matthew Perry's book, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. There were quite a few gems in this book related to mental health, substance use, and addiction. This may be sacrilegious to say, but I've actually never watched a full episode of Friends. But I'm deeply invested and interested in people's stories, especially as it relates to mental health and substance use. In fact, I selected a career based on teaching and researching about these specific conditions. So jumping into the book, there were a few things that were mentioned that I just want to highlight real quick. Earlier on in his childhood, he described how he wanted to seek attention and he was craving attention from those close to him. Specifically, his mother was someone who he really described as wanting to capture her attention. He noticed that comedy, making people laugh, being funny, these were things that were able to capture folks' attention and make him the center of attention, even if it was just for a little bit. And there was this constant theme throughout the book that if I can just get this attention and make people laugh and be funny and humorous, folks will give me the care, attention, and love that I deserve. And then that will help me deal with some of these issues that are deeply embedded within my core. And then fast forward, he becomes one of the cast members of one of the most critically acclaimed comedy shows in history. And so even making it to this pinnacle where he is literally in front of several people's eyes and they're looking at him as someone who they value as funny and as a celebrity and famous figure, but he was still struggling with some of the issues that were unresolved from his childhood. And he was quite detailed in describing his addiction to different substances and how he would go in and out of treatment and sometimes find that he was successful for a little bit and then return to patterns of use after he left. This theme, this backdrop that was constant throughout the book really made me think a lot because I've certainly encountered quite a few clients and quite a few people in my personal life who say, once I make it to this next point, everything will be okay. Everything will be resolved. Once I get that job, once I get that sort of relationship, once this thing happens, everything will be resolved. But if you're not working towards those issues and resolving those other issues, you may find that those problems still persist even after you make it to that point, even after you get that next job that you want or that promotion that you want. You have to work through and navigate and deal with some of the emotional and mental health concerns, whether it's trauma, stressors, or others, kind of dealing with these, navigating through these complex issues while you are striving towards these other goals, because making it to that next stage, whether it's career-wise, whether it's relationship-wise, whether it's some other social or recreational aspect, making it to that point may not necessarily instantly cure the other issues that you may be dealing with or struggling with. So just something to consider. And something that really struck me with this is, he had an extremely optimistic take at the end of his book. It was extremely optimistic about the future to come. And it's just really painful to think about, him succumbing to his addiction, to his substance use disorders, him succumbing to that and ultimately passing away from a drug overdose. And, having worked in a residential and outpatient and crisis stabilization, addiction treatment setting, it's something that definitely you encounter. Folks leaving treatment and you want the best for them and they're extremely optimistic. And then you might find out that they passed away, unfortunately. And so there were so many different narratives and topics that were covered in this book. And I may kind of touch on a few more in the future, but these are some major things that stuck out to me. So again, making sure that you understand that it's not just that social thing that you're striving towards. If you are also dealing with those emotional and mental health concerns, kind of try to address those as well. Ultimately, I hope that someone out there can find this video useful and or helpful. And my heart and my brain is with you as we all navigate through this human condition of being aware and having deeper level thinking of what's going on around us and being impacted by things that are going on around us and impacted by things from our past. Wish you best of luck and thank you for watching this video.